Good morning to everyone. So, just to make sure, rather to just let everyone know. So, this program that we're doing this 2 weeks of the first 2 weeks of the year of the iron, metal, golden ox is also co-sponsored, so to say, participated by another organization. So Urban Dharma in North Carolina, which I'm a part of, as well as Bodhi Heart Sanctuary in Malaysia, is collaborating with us. So just a reminder to Leonard, if you are there, you might want to share these practices with the Bodhi Heart Sanctuary Network. So Bodhi Heart is a place in Malaysia. Some of you have been there before. Beautiful space next to a huge Chinese cemetery, which in local thinking, it's a little bit creepy or scary. But then, of course, for a Buddhist place of practice, it's excellent space. But the sanctuary itself is beautifully landscaped. Like many things in Buddhism in Malaysia, we don't draw sectarian lines so hard and fast. But Bodhi Heart consciously does that. So it has like facility for monastic sangha, especially to live there for short term, a week, a few months, and mostly it's monks and nuns from the Theravada tradition that tends to reside there over periods of time. Then I sometimes teach there when I'm back in Malaysia. Very few actually teachers from Tibetan tradition are there, in part because the Tibetan teachers, they have their own centers, and people tend to be a little territorial about keeping their teachers back at their own centers. But I've been fortunate enough to be associated with Bodhi Heart because all the key people in the day-to-day running of Bodhi Hearts are friends of mine. So what they are also doing, helping us, is giving the opportunity for us to participate in merit accumulation, merit gathering, by doing lantern offering. So there are beautiful lanterns offered for these 16 days of these 2 weeks. So maybe at some point you can look at either the Urban Dharma website or on Facebook page or my Facebook page, where you will see pictures of these lanterns, as well as the names of the sponsors written in these placards and hung up in this area, which has an image of Avalokiteshvara Kuan Yin in the Chinese tradition as the main object of focus in that area. So beautifully lit for 16 days, lit for the benefit of all beings, for us to develop clarity and wisdom, clear seeing. Clear seeing is the best blessing we could receive. Clear seeing begins when we are willing to open our hearts and to let our hearts be suffused by the Buddha's teachings, to take into our own experience what the Buddha has taught. So that's at Bodhi Heart. Then also, at the same time for these 16 days, we are also fortunate to have someone in Kathmandu in Nepal to help us by making Sang cleansing smoke offering every day in the main stupa in Bodha, the Bodhanath stupa. So also we will post, I will post on Facebook some short video clips and some images of this Sang cleansing smoke offering. So the cleansing is to, again, like this practice that we're doing every day, it's in the end about the purification of karmic obscurations. Yeah. So that is the main point of this cleansing or purifying. Then in also Nepal, we are also sending these incense substance called the incense powder, various types of incense mix. All of that we are sending to, I think, about 12 monasteries all around Bodha. Our friend Lama Ringzin is helping us to buy like the sacks of incense and sending them to 12 monasteries all around Bodha with some cash offerings as well for the monasteries, for them whenever they do sang to use this incense. And then right at the beginning, day before yesterday, in Lumbini, 21 monks who have been in strict retreat for 21 days and nights came out of retreat. At the end of that, there is a fire puja to purify all mistakes and lapses, and kind of a grand finale to all of the 21 days of intensive Yamantaka practice. So when they came out, we were also able to, based on the offerings that many of you have sent, we were able to give every monk that was in retreat for 21 days and the assistants that were helping them an offering, a cash offering as well. So just know, the reason for telling everyone this might sound like it's bragging, but it's not. It's an opportunity for us to participate in these wonderful offerings and to participate at this point in rejoicing in. So when you hear this, instead of, if you didn't get a chance to make the donation, instead of oh, darn it, I didn't get to make the donation. Oh, darn it, I didn't see the announcement. Instead, your first thought should be, oh, how wonderful that this is going on. Oh, I rejoice. I really am so fortunate to hear about this and to be able to think, may the light illuminate all darkness, may the cleansing smoke remove all pain and suffering from all beings, may the offerings that we do clear everything, the pandemic, the suffering that comes with it, the economic downfall, the emotional wreck, all of that, may it be cleansed, may it be purified for the benefit of all beings. So then, same, when we're posting things on Facebook, of course, a lot of times it can just turn into, kind of bragging or competing and all of that. But it's all a matter of how we view these displays of, our practice. And so we have to be careful that it doesn't lapse into, this competing mind, or, being proud. And so Gampopa says, of course, Buddha taught this very clearly, but recently in the set of teachings that Khenchen Kongtrul Gyaltsen and Rinpoche gave on the 4 dharmas of Gampopa, the first dharma, and may the dharma actually be the dharma, may the dharma be used in the service of dharma. And so the fundamental point there is that our dharma practice should not turn into the 8 worldly concerns of a Dharma practice should not be used, should not be contaminated by the 8 worldly concerns. So this is important for us to remember. So again, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Thank you if you registered with us and if you're participating with us and you're committing to doing as many of these sessions as possible. This is most wonderful. We have over 100 people registered, but some of them might not know what they were doing or registering. So we have about today 79 people on Zoom. So there's about 30 people who registered, but probably didn't know what they were doing. In any case, we rejoice also, in them registering, because at least in that moment when they registered, they thought, oh, this will be wonderful. So we rejoice in them registering, and we rejoice in them perhaps, still snoozing on a Saturday morning. And so we will practice more diligently to make up for those who are not able to join us at this session. So we begin on page 4. Page 4 of this text. Page 4, the first line there sets up, so to say, the initial field of refuge for the preliminary section. The preliminary section is to take refuge and to generate the 4 immeasurable minds, and then to generate the commitment and to set the motivation right for why we are doing this practice. So the initial field of refuge in the space in front of us, it says here, in the space before me, I envision the Buddha, the Lord of sages, surrounded by unfathomable root and lineage gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas. Dungi namga domba dumbe wambola koro cha gyugi lama dan cha sang je changsen padu mepen korne Antonio, can you please read the refuge on page 4?
I and all mother sentient beings, extensive as space, take refuge in the root of non-lineage gurus. We take refuge in perfect Buddhas, the transcendent conquerors. We take refuge in the holy Dharma, free from attachment and peaceful nirvana. We take refuge in the noble assembly of bodhisattvas endowed with realization and liberation. May all
Magyu namke tada nyambe zenjen damje zawa dang gyube lama namla gyabzu jiwa sobe sanje chumdende namla gyabzu jiwa shiva chaja dambe jo namla gyabzu jiwa ringbro ningen niden gyase pabe cho namla gyabzu jiwa dada drowa magyu namge dada nyambe zenjen damje zawa dang gyube lama namla gyabzu jiwa jiwo zobe sanje chumdende namla gyabzu jiwo shiwa chadra dambe jo namla gyabzu jiwo ridro niden gyase pabe zo namla gyabzu jiwo dadan drowa magyur namge dadan nyambe senchen tamche zawa dam gyube lama namla gyabzu jiwo zobe sanje chumdende namla gyabzu jiwo shiva jaja dambe jo namla gyabzu jiwo ridro niden gyase pabe so namla gyabzu jiwo. Next section. Sandra, if you are there, can you please read the four immeasurables up to the middle of page 5?
May all sentient beings who have not realized that a self and all appearances are by nature dharmadhatu have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they not be separated from the happiness which is free from suffering. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion.
There's a beautiful streak of light, rainbow light in Sandra's screen. All of these auspicious happenings. 다단 나와 담제 저기 인기 랑신 임발라 데다르마 토베 샘젠 담제 대화당 대외 규단 덴브라 규지 동야당 동야기 규단 저와 규지 동야메 베대와 담에 저와 규지 내린 자단이당 저와 당연라 네브라 규지 다다나와 탐제 주기 인기 랑신인 발라 데다마 도벤 샘젠 탐제 대와당 대외 규단 덴브라 규지 동야당 동야기 규당 저와 규지 동야메 베대와 담에 저와 규지 내린 자단이당 저와 당연라 네브라 규지 다다나와 탐제 주기 인기 랑신인 발라 데다마 도베 샘젠 탐제 대와당 대외 규단 덴브라 규지 동야당 동야기 규단 저와 규지 동야메 베대와 담에 저와 규지 내린 자단이당 저와 당연라 네브라 규지. Randy, can you read from the bottom of page 5 to the top of page 6?
May I swiftly attain the sublime state of perfectly complete awakening for the sake of all mother sentient beings. For this purpose, I shall make offerings to the 35 Buddhas, and having invoked their heart pledge, I shall engage in the practice of confessing downfalls.
마 샘젠 탐제기 던드녀와 양당 바라 소베 산제기 곰팡 렘버제 도바르자 렌제두 월셰바 숨주 상아 조징 도담 국내 동화 샹페 조가라 중바르자 Now the objects of refuge, they all dissolve into ourselves and think that we receive the blessings of the objects of refuge so that we can actualize the aspirations that we've made. Gyabyu nam rangla tempo gyu. So next is the blessings of the purifying, the offerings. The offerings that we have prepared on our shrines, or the offerings that we have visualized, all of that we can consecrate and cleanse and bless. Lucrezia, can you please read from page 6? Let's see. To the top of page 7, actually, until the word dispelled. The very top of 7 is dispelled. And then after that, if Omar, you can take it from there, starting with even like a palm, all the way to the top of page 8, where it says Jambu gold. Yeah, Jambu gold at the top of 8. Omar. And then Claudia, starting from page 8, swaying pearl tassels. All the way to the top of 9, where it says vessels of aromatic powders. So basically, each of you to the very top of the next page.
Okay. By the truth of the three jewels, by the blessings of all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, by the great power of the fully completed 2 accumulations, and by the force of the inconceivable and utterly pure nature of Dharmadhatu, all faults and defects of the entire ground of this abode, such as chunks of dirt and stone, gravel, unevenness, and crookedness, is dispelled.
Even like a palm, it is extensive and vast, and is carpeted with the fine sand and various jewels. Filled with flowers, medicine, bathing pools, wish-fulfilling jeweled trees, streams of scented water, the reverberating sound of Dharma, and so forth. It is utterly pure like the Buddha field of Sukhavati. Above this, in space, surrounded by a string of clouds of 5 color lights, is a jewel throne, each of its 4 sides supported by a pair of great lions. It is spacious, lofty, and covered with divine silken scarves. Above this is a seat of a variegated lotus and a full moon disk staked one on top of the other. Upon this is a white silken parasol with a jewel top ornament and 1,000 spokes made of jambu gold.
Swaying pearl tassels dangle from its silken hem. Thus, arranged and lovely to behold, it is magnificent. May 35 such parasols and myriad seats of lotus and moon instantly appear. On the ground before these are flowers of different colors strewn in a carpet. Above these are any offerings that have been actually arranged as a meditation support. May inconceivable offering clouds like those produced from the magical display of the Bodhisattva Samantabhadra appear, such as water endowed with the 8 qualities, water for bathing the feet, divine flowers such as the Mandarava flower, prepared and natural incense, jewels, lamps burning, seed oils, medicinal scented water that heals pain, ambrosial food from the god realm of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Wind instruments, percussion instruments, victory banners made of soft and smooth saffron dyed cloth, hanging banners and canopies, and vessels of aromatic powders.
Namo Ranatrayaya Namo Bhagavate Bajasara Paramadane Tadagadaya Arahate Samya Sambuddhaya Tiyata Om Bajre Bajre Mahabajre Mahatejo Bajre Mahabidya Bajre Mahabodhicita Bajre Mahabodhi Mando Pasangramana Bajre Sarva Karma Avarana Bishodana Bajre Soha Namo Ranatrayaya Namo Bhagavate Bajra Sara Pramadane Tatagataya Arahade Samya Sambuddhaya Teyata Bajre Bajre Maha Tejo Bajre Mahabidya Bajre Mahabodhi Chitta Bajre Mahabodhi Mendo Pasangramana Bajre Sarva Karma Avarana Bishodana Bajre Soha Namo Ranatrayaya Namo Bhagavate Bajasara Pramadane Tatagataya Arahate Samya Sambuddhaya Teyata Bajre Bajre Mahatejo Bajre Mahabidya Bajre Mahabodhi Chitta Bajre Mahabodhi Mando Pasangramana Bajre Sarva Kama Avarana Vishodhana Bajre Soha. So as I said yesterday, we are not going to do the entire long sadhana after the first day. Instead, we will abbreviate some of the parts so that we can go to the main part of the 35, the original 35 Buddha's confession as taught by the Buddha in this sutra known as the Inquiries of Upali. But nonetheless, some of the elements need to be done. So this next part is to invoke the presence, to invite the 35 Buddhas. In the center is Buddha Shakyamuni, as depicted like in this tanka. Then surrounding the Buddha Shakyamuni are the other 34 Buddhas. And so we will do the abbreviated version here, which is instead of going on to the section where each individual Buddhas are invoked, we will do the general invitation at the beginning. So now starting on page 9, Cecile, if you're there, if you can start on the bottom of page 9 and go to page 10 to where it says, please come and cause our store of merit to increase, which is around the middle of page 10. Cecile, if you can do that. Then Jasper, Cecile in Guatemala, then Jasper, if you can continue from the bottom of page 10, bottom of page 10, and go to the middle of page 12, where it says capable mountain. Please come here in the middle of page 12. So go ahead, Cecile, and then Jasper.
Compassionate transcendent conquerors dwelling in the 10 directions, please heed me. In the past, when you, the 35 compassionate transcendent conquerors, engaged in bodhisattva deeds, you aroused bodhicitta and vowed the cleanse of creations and wandering beings in time, in times when the five degenerations are rampant. Following this pledge, in order to protect us helpless, wandering beings, today we invite you to safeguard and stand by us and our last resort, having come reward us with eyes of compassion and purify our faults in downfalls. Please come and cause our store of merit to increase.
Mahamuni in the place and time, please come here as one. Holy One, please come here. Omissions One, please come here. Mahamuni, for the sake of others, chief of humans, please come here. Omissions One among humans, please come here. Born in the lotus pond of moral discipline and suffers with the water of perseverance. Your disciplines gather around you like bees. Lotus 6, please come here. Doing in the noble truth, endowed with the eyes of love and compassion. Your role of sound, your role, the sounds of selflessness, victorious lion, please come here. Your discipline reminds of pure water streams, causing the bonds on the branches of awakenings to bloom into galleons of flowers and to develop into the perfect fruits of total liberations. Victorious tree, please come here. Endowed with wisdom vast and profound, and with the unlimited water of samadhi, you are a treasury filled with a yogi's gems, oceans of good qualities, please come here. Endowed with a gorgeous mandala of compassion and perfectly endowed with the light's rays of wisdom, you open the lotus mind of the disciplines. Capable sons, please come here. Invisible to adversary, the deeds performs in the example of your perfect life where a hero and his followings. You won the trust of the dear light returns and non-returners. Capable mountain, please come here.
Okay, now let's go back to page 9. And I'll chant the Tibetan. Juju na jube jumdende tuje chempur dan denpa nam dala gong su so. Jumdende tuje chempur dan denpa sumju sanga poge namon changju sempe chepa chope ze. Ningma nga do wa namgi de ba jongwa tuge jing tudam jidra zewa deshin du dena cha gome gi rowa gyopele du gong kya dan punyen du jen jen jin jina tu je jen gi sing ne da cha gi ne tong jong shin so nam gi so beo we le du jong para ji na tu ba jin bo du de la kebu zo wo she zu so kebu dam ba she zu so kebu ju gen she shu so tu ba jin bo jin dong ji gang ni so wo she zu so kan ni jin gen she zu so su zhen bei me zi ne run zun dun zhang ki nam pa ra bia lo ma bong wa dra jin ba do ba bei ma she zu so pa bei den bar ne je de jam dang tu jin jing a shi dang me ba yi dra zhou ba gya wa zeng ge she zu so Trim ni zang wa ju wa zhen chang ju yin la men tong ge nam zhe de bu pun sum so gya wa dong bo she zu so she ram gya che za ba po ting zin cham ni chang den shen nyang ju ba yi nor bu dam yon den gya zo she su so Shera oze le bargen lo ma pe ma ka je ba tuba ni ma shezu be ki go we mi kyo ji nam tra le so men so je lo da mi lo le da ta tuba ri wo shezu So this is the general invitation. Then please turn to page 17. Blessed Lord, how marvelous that you have come. We are indeed endowed with merit and good fortune. Blessed Lords, please remain while we make offerings to all of you. In this mandala of pure Dharma teachings, a sacred seat of great splendor, sacred seats of great splendors have been arranged. Resting in a meditative state of unmoving samadhi, please be seated with a joyful mind. Unobstructed, unrestricted form in the mode of equanimity, please be seated on these clean and spacious thrones and accept this gift of happiness. Sitting on these jeweled thrones held aloft by lions and covered with celestial silken scarfs, with joy and loving disposition, please perform the great purpose of all wandering beings. In the center of flawless, lovely lotus seats with open petals and pollen bed are moon mandalas for the benefit of all. We beseech all of you to remain upon these seats with love for wandering beings. So in the English, you can modify. I think when the translation was done, probably more careful editing wasn't. So here, at least in the English, we have to do this. It's not just like on page 17. It says "Blessed Lord," right? It's not just one. At the very least, the 35 Buddhists. And then we have prepared, right, the 35 thrones with canopies. So we lotuses and moon discs and all of that. Yeah. So 17. In the middle of 17. Chum den de di chum pale dacha sonang kya parde jisi choba dagina desi chum den shuk su choban dabe kyukur de pachen dabe den shabde tinse miyo nyam shabe gebar gong de dewa shu sandan den tri yambala todan doba mebe gu nyam ni zugi de shula Dewa jo jarwa shesu denge tepa no budri laze gogi kaba de gishin zebe nyang sugi sugla drobe chudon jesu jideo yion be me den damge gesar jebe kun ben dawe gyugorde rola zebe shuksu shesu wa tape dewa sheba gorgi sodang Cheba nam dungi nam karazadu nga we senge chidan pema dan dawe den la shubani. Thus supplicated, the Sugatas with their retinues remain upon the lotus and moon the seats of properly arranged lion thrones in the space before me. So the next section is the description of each of the Buddhas that we did yesterday. Bottom of 22, yeah, after describing each of the Buddhas, what they are holding, the colors, all of that. Then at the bottom there it says, all are dressed in the style of a renunciate Nirmanakaya and are adorned with the 32 excellent marks and the 80 minor marks, such as the crown protuberance and the wheels of the feet. Then, with their 60 aspects of melodious speech, they proclaim the clear sound of the Mahayana teachings. As their minds do not move from Vajra like samadhi, they clearly understand all objects of knowledge in the 3 times. So these lines here, starting with, all are dressed in the style of the renunciate Nirmanakaya, with the 32 excellent marks and 80 minor marks, right? Then the 60 aspects of melodious speech. Then their minds that do not move from the Vajra-like samadhi. These are pointing out, in summary, the body, exalted body, speech, and mind qualities of the Buddhas. So the 32 major and minor marks of the body are physical features. Major as in, not major and minor doesn't mean like more important, less important. It means like obvious signs are the major, and then 32 of those. And then like the crown protuberance up here, the crown fleshy mound that the Buddha has. And then like there is like a birthmark of like wheels at the bottom of his feet. So these are the obvious physical characteristics, and then there are the 80 minor. So in the teachings that relate to these 32 and 80, altogether 112, these 112 signs are said to be the result of the Buddha in his past lifetimes as the Bodhisattva, striving to achieve Buddhahood, have perfected all the different Buddha qualities. And so each of these qualities, inner qualities, would give rise to a corresponding physical feature. So, for example, the one that I remember, tend to remember easily, is it's said that the Buddha's tongue, all Buddha's tongue, is very wide and flexible. Even they said that the Buddha's tongue, if he stretches it out, this tongue can touch his forehead. So, just to show you how I am very far from achieving that state. I can barely touch the top of my lip, but Buddha's tongue, can come up to the forehead. And they say that, this special characteristic is related to how the Buddhas in his past lifetimes, practicing as a bodhisattva, has very carefully done away with, purified, done away with deceptive speech. Whether knowingly, unknowingly, whether seriously, jokingly, completely he has done away with deceptive speech. He has purified the impulse, the whatever, the strategy, whatever, to deceive anyone. And so as a result of that, he has, when in that lifetime that he becomes a Buddha, his tongue has that quality. So all the 112 signs has to do with different qualities that he perfected in his process and his path as a bodhisattva striving towards complete awakening. Then the 60 aspects of melodious speech proclaim the clear sound of the Mahayana teachings. So these are talking about, his speech has this quality, that quality, very pleasant to hear, very memorable when you hear it, and so on and so forth. And so all of this proclaim the Mahayana teachings here is not a sectarian label. Mahayana doesn't mean some kind of sectarian label. Here it means the teachings that are great in the scope, that the teachings that are teaching us how to effectively, meaningfully benefit all mother sentient beings. And the ability to benefit all mother sentient beings have to start with first developing the ability to see, to regard, to consider all beings as having been my mother before. So those who have been my mothers before are sentient beings. So in short, we call them mother sentient beings. Then their minds do not move from Vajra-like samadhi. Right? So this Vajra-like samadhi is the meditative equipoise, the state of mind, the state of meditative stability that Buddhas arrive at, whereby they see the objects of knowledge in the three times, past, present, and future. Objects of knowledge means anything that they turn their mind to, anything that is an object to be understood. So example would be, to look at, oh, it's raining now. Why is it raining? Buddhas not only know the science of rain, Buddhas, we say, not only know the science of rain, meaning then the dynamic of rain, the clouds gather, condensation, all of that, right? So the science of the physical reasons for why rain is falling. But Buddhists, more importantly, also know why is it raining in this place, and this rain is being experienced by these people who happen to be inside sleeping and listening pleasantly to the sound of rain, or someone else is caught outside forgetting to put on a raincoat and is being drenched, wet, or someone is driving and have good windshield wipers and is driving carefully, and someone else, because of the rain, the windshield is fogged up and the defogger is not working. All the intricate details of like why certain people is experiencing the same rain differently. What are the karmic conditions behind different people experiencing the same rain very differently? And then all the bugs in the ground, all the creatures that are out there that is also experiencing the rain, but experiencing the rain in all its, different ways. Some beings it's like, oh, how wonderful it's raining. Some is like, oh, how terrible it is raining. And some is like, I don't really care whether it's raining or not raining. All of that. When Buddhas turn their mind to that, they can see, they can understand exactly why. Why is this knowledge important? Why is this knowledge of being able to instantly know all of this? And not only all of this as it is right now, but past and future, as in what are the past conditions that have resulted in this particular person experiencing this thing in this way, and then what implications, what it might then precipitate and cause in the future. All of that, it is said that Buddhists understand that. Why is it so important that the Buddhists understand that? Because when they understand that, and when they are helping beings, when they are responding to the cries of suffering of beings, they can most effectively help beings. Oftentimes, we want to help, but when we try to help, the more we try to help, the messier we make situations. But Buddhists, they don't. So on the one hand, Buddhists are able to see all the intricate details of any situation. But at the same time, they are unmoving, which is what the Vajra-like samadhi is talking about. They are unmoving. Vajra means immutable, indestructible, cannot be destroyed. So samadhi is meditative equipoise, a state of mind where it is stable and unmoving like the great earth. And this is very important. Not only do Buddhas know everything when they turn their minds to it, but they are also unmoving. This unmoving is not a dead, frozen unmoving. This unmoving is a type of unmoving where it allows Buddhists to most effectively respond to others. See, right now in our confused state, we have afflicted, impure versions of these two states. Our impure version of the Vajra-like samadhi is indifference and in a state of having tuned out, having checked out, like in a comatose state, so to say, emotionally in a comatose state, mentally not available, and or perhaps too self-absorbed. So now we are in afflicted samadhi, so to say. So then in that kind of afflicted samadhi, we are no good to ourselves, we are no good to anybody else. Then likewise, in our polluted, confused state of knowing all objects of knowledge, then, omniscient Google, with this liberation in the palm of the hand, there's an expression like that, but this is confusion in the palm of the hand, Oh, we know this, we know that, we check this, we check that, we go here, we go there, la 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 la, like we think we know everything and we have to say everything, we see somebody say something, we have to say something, and we think we are helping, then pretty soon we're having an argument, then all sorts of ups and downs, all here. So this is the way we know all objects of knowledge. But the more objects of knowledge we know, the more entangled we become, tied up, hands and legs and everything tied up, bound. The more we know, the more tied up we become. So then in our confused state, when we recognize that, we say, oh, I want to give up everything. Then we fall into the confused samadhi, which is I shut out the world. So people very dramatically, like, dear friends, I will no longer be on social media. Of course, that usually lasts like, about a week. Then you have to like sheepishly, reappear on social media. And hopefully nobody notices. Then slowly you have reappeared. And you're like, oh, she's back. Then we swing back and forth, between this dull checking out and, running around like a headless chicken, right? Getting all caught up in confusion. Buddhists have purified all of this. And so Buddhists achieve the Vajra-like samadhi. They do not move at all. But in not moving, they, without mistake, respond to the needs of beings. So this is said to be like the moon and its reflection on earth. The moon is unmoving in the sky. But on every surface on earth where there is water on that night, where there is a surface that reflects, then the moon is reflected. So in some cases, the reflection of the moon is big, some small, some clear, not so clear, some moving, some still. These are all in relation to the little and different bodies of water that is out that night, so to say, that can reflect the moon. So Buddhas are unmoving, and yet they are able to respond to the needs of beings. Yeah? Goes on to say, these bodies are garbed in the 3 Dharma robes, and garlands of light shine like the sun from their bodies to alleviate pain of miserable destinies. With eyes open wide like lotus petals, they behold me and all sentient beings with great compassion. Upon merely beholding them, these great beings effortlessly accomplish the temporary and ultimate purposes of all sentient beings. Thus they abide with legs in Vajra posture. To the top of 24. It says here, as you raise beautiful jewel parasols with golden handles, this you is referring to us, we're offering the golden parasols. We're not talking about the Buddhists raising their own, holding an umbrella for themselves, okay? As you raise beautiful jewel parasols with golden handles, delightfully adorned with all around, with pleasing forms so lovely to behold, I make unceasing offerings to the lords of sages. So all different offerings are given. So again, each of the Buddhas are mentioned here in more details, and what they purify and the qualities that they purify, they are mentioned in the next section. So here, please turn to page 36. Page 36. At the core of this section of making offerings are basically the sevenfold puja. Most of you are familiar with what the sevenfold puja, that means the puja, worship in 7 elements. The first is to pay homage. The second is to make offerings. To pay homage and to make offerings. So we will do that now. And this is taken from the King of Noble Aspiration Prayers of Samantabhadra, the Bodhisattva. There are 12 verses from that opening of the King of Noble Aspiration Prayers. And then this text inserts other things, inserts other appropriate things into these basic 12 verses. So here on page 36. So page 36 in the middle, right? Starting with, to those in as many worlds. So here, let's see, Elena, can you please read that to the end on page 36 until pay homage to all the victorious ones. Elena, if you're reading, we cannot hear you. You have to unmute.
Yes. To those as many worlds as exist in the 10 directions, all the lions among humans, the Tathagatas of the 3 times, to all of them without exception, I prostrate with faithful body, speech, and mind. Through the power of these prayers for excellent conduct, may all the victorious ones vividly appear in my mind. With bodies as numerous as atoms in the universe, I respectfully bow down and pay homage to all the victorious ones.
Thank you. Then Leonard, can you please read 37 from the top to right before the mantra, which is, it says, dust motes in the universe, until there.
In a single atom, residing amidst the Bodhisattva suns, there are as many Buddhas as there are atoms in the entire world. In the same way, I imagine the entire Dharma expanse to be completely filled with victorious ones, with inexhaustible oceans of praise and oceans of melodious sounds, extolling the noble qualities of the victorious ones. I praise all the Sugatas. To all those worthy of honor, while offering praise with supreme faith, I bow unceasingly with bodies as numerous as dust motes in the universe.
Okay, thank you. So now go back to 36, right, in the middle. Let's chant. Engineer Suda Juju Jitena Dusum Shepa Mi Zenge Gun Dagi Malu Deda Tamjela Ludang Ayi Dangwe Chagi Wo Sambu Jube Molam Tobdagi Gawa Tamje Yigi Ngunsundu Shingi Dune Lurab Tubaye Gawa Gunla Rabdu Chatselo Dujitena Dune Sanje na sanje seki una shubada deda jogi ying nam alupa tamje gyawa dagi kanwa mo deda ngapa mitse gyatso na yangi yanla gyatso dragungi gyawa kunji yonten rabzo je dewa shepa tamje dagi do chao o cha ja oba namje la shindu kungi dranegi Ludu baye nam kundu chokdu debe tobar ye. Namo Ranataraya ya Namo Bhagavate Vajrasara Pamadani Tathagataya Arahate Sinya Sambudaya Tuyata Vajre Vajre Mahabhadre Mahatedo Vajre Mahavidya Vajre Mahabodhitita Vajre Mahabodhi Mandopa Sankramana Vajre Sarva Karma Avarana Vishodhana Vajre So Adriana, can you please read until the whole of page 38?
Until where?
Page 38.
38?
Yeah.
In a single atom residing...
No, 38, with the best flowers and exquisite garlands.
Yes. With the best of flowers and exquisite garlands, music, ointments, supreme parasol, hidden light, and the finest incense, I make offerings to the victorious ones. With the finest garments, sweet fragrance, and powered incense built high as Mountain Meru, and with everything is in exalted and with supreme display, I make offerings to the victorious one. I also imagine vast and unsurprised offering made to all the victorious ones. Through the power of my faith in excellent conduct, I prostrate and offer to all the victorious ones.
Meto damba drengwa damba dan sinye namdan chumpa dujo da marme chodan dupo damba ye gyawa deda lani chumpa rangi nabza damba namda dijo da jema buma rera namba da kobe kebara pape chogungi gyawa deda layang chumpa rangi choba gana lame gyaje wa deda gyawa tamje layang mo sambo chola debe topdagi gyawa kuna chasel choba. So then more extensive offerings are done in all these lots of offerings, different aspects of offerings in all the next few pages until like page 47, like mandala offerings. Then after all this, Go to page 48. You see on page 48 the little words says, having uttered thus, continue with the last 5 limbs, the last 5 of the 7. So the next part is a brief confession, then followed by rejoicing in the merit of the Buddhas and all the great beings. Then requesting Buddhas to turn the Dharma wheel, and then requesting Buddhas not to depart from us, but to forever guide us. Then finally, dedication. So this takes us up to page 49. So Tracy, if you can read from I confess whatever wrong, to the end of page 48, the rest of page 48, starting with I confess whatever wrong.
I confess whatever wrong I have done with my body, speech, and also mind, while being overpowered by attachment, hatred, and ignorance. I rejoice in the merit of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions, the solitary Buddhas, those on the path of learning, those beyond learning, and all beings.
Then 48, Samantha, can you read? Oh, sorry, 49. Can you read page 49?
All of those lies in the words of the 10 directions who, having passed through the stages of Buddhahood, attain awakening free from attachment, to all of those protectors, I beseech you to turn to unsurpassed wheel of Dharma. To all those who intend to demonstrate Nirvana, with my palms together, I beseech you to remain for the benefit and happiness of all beings, for as many kalpas as there are atoms in the universe. Whatever slight virtue I may have gathered from prostrating, offering, confessing, rejoicing, requesting, and beseeching, I dedicate it to the awakening of all beings.
Yeah, so now let's go back to page 48. Yeah. Doja shedang timo wangene lodang adan de shi yiki de pa da gi pa je pa de da tam je da gi so so ra sha chu chu gya wa kun dan san je se rang gya nam dan lo da me lo da ro wa kun ji so nam gang la yang de da kun ji je se da yi ra kanan jo ju ji den ro ma nan jang ju ren pa san je ma cha ne Gumbo de da dagi tamje la kolo la na me pa korwa gu nyangen da tong gangshe de da la ro wa gun la pension de weji kyoba shingi ne shingi dune suba yang dagi tamo rabja so wargi chase wadan jojin shabadan jise yirang kuzing so wayi gewa chungse dagi chisaba tamje zobe chanju jirngo. And now page 50. Yeah, we have now page 50. So at the top it says, in accordance with the 35 Sugatas aspirations. Sugata means those who have gone to bliss, those who have achieved the blissful state. Another word for Buddha. In accordance with the 35 Sugatas aspiration to exhaust the karmic veils of those who remember their excellent names and pay homage to them, please bestow the fruits of this wish. There are some, there is one, so these 35 Buddhas, with Buddha Shakyamuni in the center, and another 34 Buddhas. So each of them, they have their own kind of histories, their own stories. We do not know much about every one of them. That's the truth. There isn't like 35 stories somewhere in the 84,000 teachings, or at least the teachings that we have. They don't necessarily have information for every one of them. Some of them there might be. But the bottom line, we say, is that the important thing for us to remember is that they were once like you and me. They were once like you and me, meaning that they were once also beings in samsara, where their Buddha nature is obscured, covered up with afflictive emotions, with confusion. But because they gave rise to bodhicitta, they took the bodhisattva vow, the aspiration vow to become Buddhas for the benefit of all beings, and the action vow to practice whatever it takes to achieve that. And because they kept their vows, then they fulfilled their vows, then they became awakened, they became Buddhists. And because they are now Buddhists, then they are able to benefit us. So it says, just by remembering their names, remembering their names is talking about remembering what they mean. And again, we do not know each of their stories in details. But every one of them, their main story is they were once like you and me, but now they have purified all that which needs to be purified. They have done away with all that needs to be done away with, and they have magnified, they have expanded, and they have increased or manifested all the Buddha qualities that we all have within us. So that's the bottom line story. And that's why hearing their names, hearing their excellent names and pay homage to them. So I personally believe it doesn't have to be so literal. Of course, if you can remember their names, wonderful. But we don't need to think, oh, until I can remember their names, But the point here is to remember their excellent names is to remember their excellent examples. And to pay homage, of course, is very good if you do prostrations, body, speech, and mind, prostrations, or make offerings, all of that, wonderful. But more, the key there is to say, to pay homage to them. It's not like Buddhas are sitting around going, are they paying homage to me today? Oh, they are. Okay, here, I'll give them some goodies. That doesn't mean that, right? We know that, It means to pay homage to them means, not only are we so inspired by their examples, their excellent example, their names, but we desire to be like them. And that's the meaning of paying homage. In Buddha Dharma, paying homage is not flattering Buddhists. Singing hymns to Buddha to flatter the Buddhists so that the Buddhists will look kindly on me rather than my neighbors. So that's the problem with, that kind of thinking. We think, oh, I've been blessed by Buddha. I've been blessed by God. Oh, God is so good to me, Then meanwhile, other people who are suffering, you're like, well, I don't know, they must have screwed up. Then we're thinking of God, we're thinking of Buddha, like, some kind of like, I don't know, dysfunctional parents that we might have had, who play favoritism for this kid and not that kid, Buddhas are not like that, And Buddhas are not like that. It's not because we pay homage to them, they show us favor. No. To pay homage to them is, it means like we desire those qualities. We want to be like them. So then, because of these two things, we recognize their example and we say, I want to follow your example. And this is the blessings. And because of this, then all sorts of negativity can be purified. So in the section where we skip today, where each of the Buddhas are mentioned in details, like starting on, so you want to take time, perhaps today, like I said, we only meet for one session, 1.5 hours. But if we can do this on your own, more, or just read through. So which section am I talking about? I'm talking about 36 going backwards to starting from 24 going to 36, each of the Buddhas. And there, each of them, it will tell you, like, for example, the second Buddha, misdeeds of 10,000 eons are cleansed, are cleared. Misdeeds of 25,000 eons are cleared. Misdeeds of 8 eons are cleared. Misdeeds of speech are cleared. Misdeeds of mind are cleared. Misdeeds of splitting, causing dissension in the Sangha, are cleared. Misdeeds of 1 eon are cleared. Misdeeds of denigrating the sublime ones are cleared. So misdeeds of killing one's mother are cleared. Misdeeds of killing one's father are cleared. All these things. It's good to gain acquaintance with each Buddha, and by remembering which Buddha, what sorts of negativity are cleared. These negativities, right? You might think, and I hope, most of you are thinking, no, I didn't do them. We're not talking about just this lifetime. In fact, we said, every time we hear about some very terrible person in the news, right? Famous or not famous, in the US, lots of news you can read, right? And then now in the world, everywhere you can read, when we read about very terrible people, whether historically or now, we might think, I'm not like these people. But the thing is, we don't know, what we have in the past. Maybe in the past life, we're one of these people. We have no idea. So this purification practice is not just purifying this life. We're thinking, so in a way, it's also training us to, so we say it's to purify past negative karmas, right? And even when we say that, I know some of us are like, I don't know, I don't know about this past life business. I don't know. And even if you entertain past life, you think, okay, I trust enough to say they're past lives. But even that, when we talk about these types of negative acts, we think, no, I don't think I did them. I don't think I did them, right? But we say, how do you know, right? Okay, now let's put that aside, not dismiss, put that aside and say, well, maybe not, we don't know. So then how can this practice still work for us now? How it helps us, I think, works for us now is when we look at all these negative deeds that are mentioned here. Even if you think, oh no, I didn't do them. Oh, not now, not for the last 60 years, not for the last 30 years, not for the last 79 years, right? Even if you're thinking that, right? Here, what it does is that it helps us to develop acceptance of others. When we can imagine, what if I did this myself? It helps us to be in other people's shoes. often when we hear other people doing any of this, we have this judgmental mind, like, oh, these terrible people, how can they do this? This is to help us to see we are quite capable of doing this. It's just that conditions are not conspiring, so to say, right? Conditions are not conspiring for us to do something so terrible. Yeah, I was listening to one of these crime podcasts, and they're talking about like kind of the types of crimes that people commit when they are desperate. And this particular series is showing, I don't know, they found a niche. The niche of this podcast is they are featuring people who are innocent, seemingly innocent. So a college kid, seemingly no problem with the parents, yeah, but suddenly end up murdering the parents because he got into online gambling in college. Things got desperate. So this series, the podcast says that there's a lot of research on this area. They have a particular name. It's not white collar crime. There's some other name, some cute name for it. It says that often people will say, oh, I never thought, this kid, this person, this husband, or this mother would do this. And often, yes, nobody would think. But when particular conditions come together, the sweetest person, the volunteer, the seemingly very patient husband will just blow a fuse and kill the people closest to them. Of course, I think, I hope, to some degree, I trust, none of us will do this in this lifetime. But we just never know, because the very same people who we thought would never do, given the right conditions, this, or the wrong conditions, this can happen. We're not saying that, any of us are thinking of like we would happen, right? But this is helping us to put ourselves in other people's shoes and to have compassion. To have compassion and to understand the depths of suffering and the messiness of samsara. That in the end, we are all victims. And we are all victims because we are all victims of our karma. So we are all perpetrators. In the world where we are all victims and perpetrators, karmically speaking, we cannot blame. I'm not talking about, the relative level, taking responsibility, the courts of justice, etc., all those things. I'm not talking about those things. Don't overextend what I'm saying. I'm talking about when we train our minds. We have to really recognize that we cannot stand in judgment. In a way, we cannot even stand in judgment of ourselves. Because this is not about that. This is about giving up unskillful actions. To give up unskillful actions, we need the 4 powers, as I mentioned yesterday. By the way, there is very detailed teachings on the 4 powers, which I will try to incorporate in the next 14 days from the Jewel Ornament of Liberation. In the chapter on taking the Bodhisattva vow, right before taking vows, there is the teaching on the 4 powers. And in all 4 powers, 4 stories are given in brief in the Jewel Ornament of Liberation of Gampopa. But in Kenjen Goncho Gyosen's translation, there are 3 major translations available these days. The second translation, chronologically, done by Kenjen Goncho Gyosen, that translation in the appendix, there's very useful, all the stories, detailed version of stories mentioned in the jewel ornament, in the main text. Khenchen Rinpoche provided the stories in detail. So that particular version of jewel ornament has all the stories mentioned in the appendix. Very useful. So I will try to cover these four. This is really helpful for us because when we talk about purifying, when we talk about eradicating, when we talk about clearing these afflictive emotions, what are we talking about? You know, when we're clearing negative karma, what are we talking about? This is what we're talking about. So now the main part, page 50. Omar, can you get ready the slides for the Buddhas? Now it will move very fast, but if you can click, 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 click for us. So I will start. And then after that, each person that I call your name, you basically do, like yesterday, I don't know if you remember, you basically do the one line as it is laid out. For example, on page 51, the next person that reads will do homage to the one who has fully conquered, that, all the way to homage to the leader of the brave. One person. So one person has a few names, 1, 2, 3, 4 in this case. Then every case, each person will say the names, 4 names. Homage to glorious joy, homage to jewel fire, homage to jewel moonlight, homage to meaningful to behold. One person. Then next person, 4 names. Next person, 4 names. So the next person, first I will say the Shakyamuni one. Then the next person is Anna Isabel. Anna Isabel, you will start with homage to the one who has fully conquered with Vajra essence. You will say that. Then after Anna Isabel is Suzanne. After Suzanne is Daniela. So then I will call the next name after that. After Daniela is Christina. I will call your names. So now we start with page 50. Throughout all time, all sentient beings take refuge in the Guru. We take refuge in the Buddha. We take refuge in the Dharma. We take refuge in the Sangha. Homage to the Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arhat, the perfectly complete Buddha Shakyamuni. Anna Isabel, please unmute yourselves.
Okay. Homage to the one who has fully conquered with Vajra essence. Homage to jewel radiating light. Homage to the sovereign king of Nagas. Homage to the leader of the brave.
Next.
Homage to glorious joy. Homage to jewel fire. Homage to jewel moonlight. Homage to meaningful to behold.
Daniela.
Homage to jewel moon. Homage to the stainless one. Homage to glorious giving. Homage to the pure one.
Christina, the top of page 52.
Yes.
52 at the very top.
Homage to the giving of purity. Homage to the water god. Homage to the god of the water god. Homage to the good of glory.
Joyce.
Homage to glorious sandalwood. Homage to infinite brilliance. Homage to glorious light. Homage to glory without sorrow.
Rowan.
Homage to the sun of non-craving. Homage to glory of flowers.
Continue. So do 4. Actually, just stay there. Let's not confuse. Sorry. Judy, next line.
Homage to the Tathagata, radiant, pure display of complete omniscience.
Waiting.
Homage to the Tathagata, completely omniscient display of lotus light. Homage to the glory of wealth. Homage to the glory of mindfulness.
Melissa?
Homage to widely renowned glorious name. Homage to the king, victory banner that crowns the sovereign.
Larry, very top of 53.
Homage to the glorious one who fully subdues. Homage to sublime victor in battle.
Laura Herman.
Homage to the one gone beyond through complete victory. Homage to glorious illuminating array. Homage to all subduing lotus jewel.
Mariana. Homage to King of Mount Meru, that line.
Homage to the King of Mount Meru, the Tathagata, Arhat perfectly, completely Buddha, abiding on a Juliet lotus.
Thank you. All these and all the Tathagatas, all the Arhats, however many perfectly complete Buddhas abide in all the worlds of the 10 directions, and all the Buddhas, the transcendent conquerors who prevail in this world, please heed me. In this and former lives without beginning, so we can all do this together. I'm just going to be reading out loud. In this and former lives without beginning, in all the states of birth within samsara, I have committed evil deeds. I have instigated others and found joy in their crimes. I have stolen the wealth of stupas, the Sangha community, and the Sangha of the 10 directions. I have incited others to steal and found joy in their thefts. I have committed the 5 immediate sins, have incited others to commit them, and have found joy in their downfalls. I have fully entered the path of engaging in the 10 unwholesome deeds, have incited others to enter it, and have found joy in their submission. Obscured by all these karmic veils, I and sentient beings have gone to hell, have gone to the birthplaces of animals, have gone to the worlds of hungry ghosts, have taken birth in savage places as barbarians, as long life gods, and as humans with impaired sense faculties. I have turned to corrupted views and karmic obscurations from having failed to please the Buddhas I encountered. In the presence of the Buddha Bhagavan's wisdom mind, before their eyes in their witness, before the authentic ones, the all-knowing ones, the all-seeing ones, I disclose all these karmic obscurations. I declare them, I shall not hide them, and hereafter I shall sever and bind them. All Buddhas, transcendent conquerors, please heed me. Rodrigo, can you read the next line, starting with I gather all the roots? Yeah. Until animal.
I gather. Okay.
You might have to lower your sound. We're hearing feedback. Yeah, try now.
Yeah. I gather all the roots of virtue I have accumulated in cyclic existence through having acted generously towards another samsaric sentient beings, even only offering a mouthful of food of those born in the animal realm.
Thank you. Miriam, next line, until pure conduct.
Together with any root of virtue from having guarded moral discipline and root virtue from having practiced pure conduct.
Thank you. Ana Elisa.
Any root of virtue from having brought sentient beings to full maturity. Any root of virtue from having given rise to bodhicitta, the mind set on supreme awakening.
To the top of 57, Alexander.
and any root of virtue from unsurpassed primordial awareness accumulated in these and former lives without beginning within samsara. All these, I dedicate them perfectly.
Kimberly? If you, yeah. Just supremely, starting with supremely, most supremely. Yeah.
Supremely, most supremely, and sublimely towards unsurpassed, perfectly complete awakening.
Thank you. Maurice, can you read from just all the way down to the bottom of the page in all merit?
Just as the previous Bhagavahan Buddhas perfectly performed dedication, and just as the Bhagavahan Buddhas who have not yet appeared will perfectly perform dedication, and just as the present Bhagavahan Buddhas perfectly perform dedication, likewise shall I perform perfect dedication. I confess each and every wrongdoing and rejoice in all merit.
Fabiola. All right, to the top of 58, to the end of that section, which is all those who have not yet appeared.
I exhort and supplicate all Buddhas that I may attain unsurpassed, most excellent primordial wisdom. With my palms joined together, I wholeheartedly take refuge in all those with praiseworthy qualities, as infinite as vast ocean, all the Buddhas, supreme among humans who exist at present, those who have passed into nirvana, and those who have not yet appeared.
Yeah, so here this is the main body of this practice of the 35 Buddhas. So again, sometimes this practice is called the sutra with the three elements, the three heaps. Yesterday I explained two ways of talking about what the three heaps are. One way is paying homage to the Buddhas is one. Second, not concealing, revealing our negative, unskillful actions and karma. And then the third is rejoicing and dedicating as the third. I think in this way, if we think of it as three heaps in this way, it's easy to remember that the third is is rejoicing and dedicating. Because in a way, right, if you do not rejoice, you cannot dedicate. So this is an important point, actually. If you do not rejoice, meaning when we have done something positive, or including seeing someone else doing something positive, first we have to recognize that it is positive. That is at the root of rejoicing, to rejoice. We have to be delighted by the good that we see. And so as far as the good that we see, the skillful actions that we see, whether it's us doing it or other people doing it, in that way, it's non-dual. It doesn't matter. If it is good, if it is skillful, it is good and skillful for everyone, no matter. Then the minute we see that, joyful heart, rejoicing arises. When we rejoice, then we can dedicate. And then we can truly dedicate. If you do not rejoice, you cannot dedicate. I shared with you all before, one of my friends, when he was doing his graduate work in Sri Lanka, in the Buddhist community in Sri Lanka, he said one of the things he learned is that Sri Lankan Buddhists, they always talk about like, your heart has to be glad. When you perform an action that is virtuous, it's not yet enough to just do that which is virtuous. Of course, it's good, right? If you are doing something to help others, regardless of how you feel, you're bringing some good to others. Yes, okay, good. But they emphasize the importance to also let any act of virtue that you do gladden your heart. Because they say, if it does not gladden the heart, if it does not make the heart open up and let go and release, then it's not full merit, so to say. And if it is not full merit, then you are dedicating very little. So you gladden your heart. So this is a little different from, maybe some of us have been brought up, with the idea that when you do something good, don't dwell on it. Move on. Which has its virtues. Sometimes in Asia, when people do good, they display the good that they have done. And this is like a distortion of the idea of, let it be known, so that it can gladden hearts. So in Asia, in the monasteries, whenever you make an offering, it's according to the tradition, your name should be announced. Like every morning during the assembly, whoever is making offering for that day, for the food or anything, your name is read out loudly. So like the names, right, that we got for the lanterns and the sang offering. So we have to read out, who is sponsoring. So sometimes that can turn into, right, something samsaric, something unskillful. People are bragging about what they're doing, what they're offering. But if we do it right, the purpose of doing that is so that other people, when they hear it, they have a chance to rejoice. And in the act of rejoicing, then merit can be dedicated. So this is the meaning of the third, dedication and rejoicing, going hand in hand. So in that way, the three elements, the three heaps, paying homage and remembering them and paying homage, one heap. Second, not concealing, revealing your negativity, the negative actions that you've done. In that way, you can let them go. That is second heap. Third heap, rejoicing and dedicating. So this will be my confused commentary of what the three heaps are. I think in each of the heap, there are two aspects. First one, remembering the Buddhas, remembering their excellent names and praising them, paying homage to them. Second heap, revealing your unskillful actions, present and past, and then abandoning them, letting them go. Third, rejoicing in the good that we see, rejoicing in that good, and then dedicating. These are the three heaps. And so we come to the end. So again, to abbreviate the end, we go to page 64. Yeah, page 64. Actually, let's go to page 63. Page 63. Maria Cristina, if you're there, can you say the first line of page 63? Please act according. Actually, all the way to the middle, and obscurations of all wandering beings.
Please act according to the pledge you took when you engaged in bodhisattva deeds, and thus purify the negativities and downfalls of myself and other beings. By apprehending your name, by repeating and calling it again and again, I supplicate you to purify, exhaust, and cleanse entirely the negativities, downfalls, and obscurations of all wandering beings.
Thank you. Javier, can you say the last section here?
In these evil times, sentient beings' actions are degraded. Impure and unawakened, our minds are suffused with negative emotions. Our offerings are scanty. They are marred by stains and other faults. Please forgive us all mistakes.
Yeah, and then now 64. And this is the auspicious verses, which I will chant right now in the Tibetan on page 64. Seme tuje ogi ngendro dan duge mumbe pungso kunsewa gyawa nima bungi tuba de taye kegu sola de le jame juyin dusi jugyungi trage nebe drima yontu be gola dampe jogi tu belgi taye kegu sola de le me sibe dunwa juwa Tuge damje kurje mindorwa pajen gyase gyaso tupagi taye kegu sogla dele sho. So here, those of you who know, you can chant together with me the aspiration prayer of the Sukhavati, just very short in Tibetan. Basically, it is dedicating that all beings that are doing the transition from this to next life, may they go directly to the land of pure bliss, ultimate bliss of Amitabha. After that, we do the dedication, which says, by this power, may excellent and precious Bodhi mind, the Bodhisattva's heart of benefiting beings, that mind, where it has not arisen, may it arise. Where it has arisen, may it not decline, but ever increase higher and higher. Yeah, so this is the meaning. Ngosa sanje namwa taye dang Yesu jowo tuje chenpo dang yondu senpa tuje tonam la sanje changsen pame korgi ko degi ngosa bakdu me ba ye dewa chense shawe shinkamde dashen dine sepo gyurma ba dewa senji pama chuparu deru kene nangde shadong sho dege dage monlam tabadi 조주 상제 창센 탐제기 게메 루바 진지 라투소 대야다 벤자드야 아와 보다나야 소 장주 샘주 렘포제 마게 바남 게규지 Geba nyamba me baya Gone gongdu bewar sho. Okay, so we completed second day. I broke my promise. We went beyond the hour and a half, but I thought, since it's weekend, I can do a little bit more, but again, we'll get good at it so that come Monday, we will end right at when we say we're going to end. Some of you are in Asia, still awake, but I know Asians like to stay awake. No problem. Stay up late at night. Also, I want to say that I am incredibly thankful that especially those of you where English is your second language, that you have volunteered to lead us in the reading. There is one joke, what do you call someone who can speak like 3 languages. He is, a trilingual. What do you call someone who can speak 2 languages? Bilingual. What do you call someone who speaks only 1 language? Americans.
Oh.
You're not wrong.
So I am, very grateful that there are many of you who can speak a few languages. But whatever language we speak, language of the heart, we need to get clear. Once language of the heart is clear, even if we are stumbling in trying to speak another language, the other person recognizes, then hearts are speaking, and that is good. Anyway, feel free to go now, but I'm going to stick around for a few minutes in case anyone has any questions regarding what you heard today, what we did. If you want, I can take a couple of questions, I think.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Dr.
Yes.
How can we do prostrations with this sadhana?
Yes. So logistically, you can figure it out. But basically, each homage to the name of the Buddha, you do prostration. Homage to, next prostration. Homage to, next prostration. So the logistic of that would be, because you have not memorized the names yet, right? So you record yourself saying homage to, homage to, homage to, yeah? Not too fast, because then your prostration have to, really fast, right? So at the beginning, maybe when you record yourself, you record slowly. Don't give yourself a heart attack doing the prostrations, so you can say, homage to, right? Then you record yourself, yeah? Then you play yourself, and you do 35. Then sit down, and then you chant the rest. Yeah. So that would be one way.
Okay, but is only the main practice, yeah?
Yes, starting from page 50.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Dr. Lai?
Mm-hmm.
Does all the lineages in Tibetan Buddhism do this practice?
Yes, absolutely.
It's a common practice.
Yeah, absolutely. Every lineage has this. Like I said, the only slight difference is in the Gelugpa lineage. They, because of Lama Tsongkhapa, added, the Tathagata to each of the Buddha's names. In the version that comes from the sutras, only I think 2 names actually has Tathagata in it. So maybe in the translation there was some inconsistency way back. Then Je Rinpoche decided, it's good to put Tathagata for every one of them. So because of that, the Gelug lineage, whenever they do this, they have Tathagata. So you'll hear Deshin Shepa at the beginning. Deshin Shepa this, Deshin Shepa this, Deshin Shepa this. Yeah. So every morning before we start, I try to come on first, and then I play this recording. That is His Holiness the Dalai Lama with many monks doing the Tongsha, this 35 Buddhists. Yeah.
Thank you.
Especially in the West, FPMT, Zopa Rinpoche has emphasized this a lot. So if you go search on YouTube, they have different charts to help you visualize, to help you, kind of visualize and to arrange the Buddhas. And Venerable Thupten Chudren, in her community, they also have different ways of helping you to remember all the different parts. So especially on the YouTube, I've noticed that a Lama Zuba, Venerable Tupten children. Then Kagyupa, Nyingma, Sakya, it's all part of almost daily recitations. Yeah. Now, transmission of Dharma in the West, not much emphasis on this. But in monastic cultures in Himalayan region, this is standard, daily recitation. Shantideva says, do this every day in Bodhisattva. This sadhana, this long sadhana, before page 50 and after page 58, that is, put together by a Drigon Kagyu lineage master to make it more, kind of extensive for the purposes of going into retreat and focusing on this practice. But the core practice, all lineages do the same.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Lai.
Yes.
You indicated there's no Zoom practice Saturday and Sunday?
No, I did not say that. Today is Saturday, yeah?
Yes, I mean tomorrow.
No, there is all 16 days.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. What I said is that, hopefully by Monday, we will be able to keep to ending after an hour and a half.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was the comment. I made me wonder. Thank you.
Dr. Han.
Yes.
This is Gary.
Yeah.
Is the order the same in all versions of this?
Yes, absolutely the same.
And so, like the first 6 after Shakyamuni is the Akshobhya family. Is that right?
No.
And so on through the 5 families.
No.
The
system of explaining the 5 families exists in some traditions, but it's not across the board. I mean, there are different explanations given to how to organize these 35 Buddhas, but that's commentarial tradition. The basic text itself does not divide them into the 5 Buddha families.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Dr. Lai?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Could you explain maybe maybe some of the elements that appear on the 35 Buddhas, the objects that they're holding?
Oh, we have another 14 days.
Some of the more rare.
Yeah, if I start now here, then you'll be stuck here for the next few hours. But yes. Answer is yes. We will. These objects, again, not so important actually, because as I say, there are 3 traditions of depicting the 35 Buddhas. In one tradition, absolutely the Buddhas don't hold anything. In the second tradition, a few of them hold something in their hands. In the third tradition, which is the one that we have in this text, each of them holds something in their hands. So what that tells me is, what is held in the hands is not so important, because 2 other traditions don't have it, But of course, with more details, it helps us to feel like we are closer to the Buddhas if we know more details about them. But at the same time, when knowing too many details and you can't keep up all the different details, you get all like, what are they? I see here, I usually don't see the chat, but the window is somehow open here. So somebody asked, Is it still possible to donate the lanterns? Lanterns have a finite amount. Leonard, is there any more left?
We have around 10 left.
Oh, 10 more left. So yes, then lantern is possible. 10 more lanterns that can be sponsored. If you want to sponsor, Javier, can you give the address so that they can directly contact you to figure it out? If you put it in the chat. Javier may be left. If somebody...
Yeah, Javier had to leave.
Okay. If somebody can type info@drigongdharmakirti.com in the chat. So that's the email address to email to. info@drigongdharmakirti.com. Somebody please type that.
Could I also see pictures of the lamps, please?
It's on Facebook. You have to look, you know.
Okay, I haven't been on Facebook today.
You just have to look, you know.
I've been here.
Well, I'm just telling you that it's on Facebook. Other questions?
Just a comment, Dr. Lai. And thank you so much. But when you said, you know, there's 35 Buddhas, we may not know much about them, but just remember that just like us, they were confused at some time. That's really inspiring. And as I look to the image that you send and we printed, it's very inspiring. So thank you for having said that.
Sure. Yeah, that's the key point, you know. That they were like us, you know, stumbling around, you know, wasting time on the couch, you know. Lost in the pages. They were like you and me. But they did something about it, and they got out. How wonderful, you know. Yes, anybody? Alexander? Alex? Maybe accidentally raised the hand. We cannot hear you if you're talking. Maybe not. Anybody else? Questions?
Yeah, lantern offering in the website, it's closed.
Yes, we know that. That's why I said send an email.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we closed that on the email because we don't know the exact number of lanterns, and between people donating in Malaysia and people donating other places, we don't want to oversubscribe and create the negative karma of that. The Sang offering is easy. We can just add. And for the Sang offering, you know, we to just be very clear for everyone. So Leonard is now sending pictures of the lanterns. Here, Leonard. Jasper, can you share screen of those pictures? Yeah. For the Sang offering, I want to clarify, you know, the suggested donation is $10 per name. But you can give more or less. And then to be absolutely kind of transparent about that, we are not spending all that money on buying the incense to burn. If we do that, I think there'll be a lot of pollution. So we are taking a good amount of that to make donations, as I said, to the monks who came out of retreat, giving some donations to 12 monasteries that is in the Boda area, buying Sang to give to the monasteries for whenever they do the Sang offering. Then there will still be money left over, and I'm thinking of a project to do with that money left over to commemorate our, you know, collective practice for these 2 weeks. So I'm thinking about that, and I'll update you before the 2 weeks is over, what we do with the extra money. Then again, to be absolutely transparent, right? The $5 per lantern that we are, oh, so now you can look at the lanterns that are in Malaysia. The $5 per lantern that we are recommending as the suggested donation in Malaysia, yeah, you know, it pays for, you know, when the lanterns were bought. These lanterns were bought by Bodhi Heart Sanctuary before now. It's not like you sponsor, we run out and buy lanterns. These lanterns have to be ordered. So it helps to for paying for the cost of these lanterns, also the cost of the electricity. Then, of course, you know, to be very transparent, there is money left over from that, and that is put into the Bodhi Heart Sanctuary operations for providing free, you know, accommodation and food to the monastic sangha that need to stay there, want to stay there and retreat. So throughout the year, people come, monks and nuns would come and do retreat there, and we are helping to support that. So know that this is where all these offerings are going to. So I rejoice in all of this. The lamps are not in Nepal. I'm seeing some. The lamps are in Malaysia. The Sang offering is happening in Nepal. The Sang offering is like $10, and that one you can still do on the website. That you can still do on the website if you have PayPal. If you do not have PayPal or credit card and stuff like that, and if you know me, send me a message. I will do that for you first. And whenever I see you again, you have to buy me lunch. Yeah. So these are the names that are written. Then when you go to Malaysia and go to Bodhi Heart Sanctuary, Leonard will give you your name on that plaque. Yeah, so please now feel free to go, you know, don't feel like you're stuck here. But if you have time to hang out, we're sharing some pictures. So these are the lanterns, yeah. Okay, sounds good. So I'll see everyone tomorrow. Again, New York time is 8 a.m. New York time is 8 a.m. Many of you, maybe, or some of you say, oh, I get confused. What time is it? You know, all-knowing, omniscient Google can solve that problem. You go to Google and you type, you know, time in New York now. Click, and then you can see what time it is in New York now and your time. Then you can figure it out. Okay.
Gracias, Dr. Lloyd. Gracias a todos.
Ya, hasta mañana.
Thank you.
Gracias.
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 Adiós.
Mañana, gracias.
Adiós.
Happy day.
Hasta mañana.
Hasta mañana.
Good day, everyone.
Hasta mañana.
Bye-bye.
Gracias.
Gracias.
Bye.